more and more of these kinds of simple questions are going to be answered by the likes of ChatGPT. I think there's something interesting happening on the other side as well, and I've spoken about it. I'm sure all of you don't particularly like shopping on the internet. It's just really hard. Something as simple as buying airline tickets, you have to go to multiple sites, figure out, compare, and buying other things like shoes and so on. It's a true pain. But I don't think we're that far away from a moment in which you can roughly describe what it is you're looking for. And you can have agents that can do a pretty good job of running searches on your behalf, assembling reports. It's early for this kind of stuff, but you can already see the genius behind things like deep research, which I use a lot, for doing in-depth research with stuff. And so I think search is under attack, both on big, complicated topics. And I'm a big fan of history when it comes to these kinds of areas. We go through cycles. And I think we went through a cycle of thinking that antitrust is completely useless and it should have no purpose whatsoever, to saying perhaps there is such a thing as too big. My very high level take is that companies should not approach the size of countries. Why? Because they are unitary in nature. They are profit maximizing. They're not for any kind of social good. I'm not saying anything dramatic here. That's the construct of a company. And so that's the bar that we should have when we think about what does antitrust mean for us as a nation. There's a bunch of stuff. There's way smarter people than I am that are going to think through these topics. The ads and commerce teams at Google for over 5 years and intimately familiar with search advertising, ran the travel and shopping teams and so on. And it's fascinating to see how rapidly it's evolving. One of the worst kept secrets on the internet is that OpenAI, ChatGPT, has I think 800 million something users and growing at multiple percentage points every week, which is wild. I think it'll be one of the fastest billion user products in the world ever. I think it just reflects the fact that none of us likes wading through a series of links or clicking around to get an answer. And ChatGPT's model, especially when it's backed with search, so you don't have to worry about things like hallucinations, of giving you an answer. Anytime I want to look up information about a company, Salil was here just now, if I want to know a quick summary about Infosys, the stock and the company, I just ask that in ChatGPT. And one of those situations in which you need to embrace and win and not worry about business model. This is the reason why established companies struggle to innovate, because they try to answer questions like that out of the gate. At this point, it is existential for Google to be relevant in the world of search. The money will come. People will figure stuff out. I can go back to my own history at Google when, first of all, desktop search had flattened out. PC sales, flat as a pancake, 2008, 9, it just stopped. And so our query growth, none. And mobile was just then coming along. And it made 1/10 the money that desktop search did. And yet it was the only place that had any amount of query. But Google's genius then was that they created Android. We cut the deal with Apple to power search and search advertising. We captured the market. And then my team went through a 5-year grind of increasing RPMs, the money that we make on mobile queries, from the 10% much closer to the 100%. And so I think it is really important to internalize that. My funny way of saying this to my team at Google would be, it is way better to have a very large business with bad margins than to have a very small business with amazing margins. I think that's what's going to happen with AI as well. These lessons keep coming back again and again. Up the chain of abstraction. What I mean by that is talking to a chatbot and getting a compact answer for something that is also correct is way better than having to click through a bunch of links. Similarly, asking a question and getting a quantitative answer. How much revenue did so-and-so company make yesterday? Is it going up? Is it going down? What's the trend? To me, is a step forward from having to wait through a bunch of search results or go to a dashboard to get at the same thing. But we do compound things all the time, meaning we are going to read some piece of news, we are going to look at how did a stock perform or how did this particular customer do as we get ready for a conversation. We are now creating systems at Snowflake that can begin to address some of these. Hey, look at 3 or 4 different data sources. Assemble answers for me that will get me ready to be able to do something. The next logical step is if something is wrong or something is going exceptionally well, what are the reasons for that happening? If your revenue went up, is it in a particular region? Did it go down because it was Easter in Europe last week? It's those next steps. So to me, progress is going to get made in terms of what are more and more complicated things. We have customers, we have insurance customers that routinely do underwrite things like these buildings, and it's a multi-week project for them to look through the hundreds of PDF documents that they will get about every aspect of this building before they can decide whether they should underwrite something or not. I think that can get accelerated to a matter of hours, where a lot of the drudge work is automated. It'll be human guided. It's not the case that all of a sudden, a system can run a business. But as we walk up this chain of abstraction, you get more and more value over it.
Well, I'm looking for